He was contacted by a woman who was looking for a $4,000 rental home in West Hollywood years and years ago. And he was like, okay, no problem. I'll pick you up on Tuesday. I'll show you 6 houses. You'll pick out one. Everything will be great. So he picked her up, showed her 6 houses. She didn't like any of them. So he's like, oh, okay, no worries. Let's do the same thing on Thursday. I'll pick you up, show you 6 houses. You'll pick one. Same thing happened on Thursday. She looked at all of them, didn't like one of them. He's like, okay, all right, let's go out on Saturday. I'll show you a bunch of houses again. But she didn't like any of those either. So this continued for weeks and weeks until 3 months had gone by. And Josh said that, you know what, I feel like I was making more money when I worked in the mailroom as opposed to servicing this one particular client for her $4,000 rental home. But he stayed committed to her because she was his client, and he made a commitment to take care of her. Well, after 3 months, they found a house that she fell in love with. She called her father and she told her dad, you know, hey Dad, I found this great house and I love it, da da da. He's like, oh, that's fantastic. So he hung up the phone. Turns out that when he took that phone call from his daughter, he was sitting in front of the CEO of his company. And he told him that his daughter just found this great rental house. And the CEO was like, oh my gosh, that's great. You know, was the agent any good? And of course, the daughter loved Josh, right? And Josh ended up getting a listing for a $4.5 million house in Santa Monica. But it doesn't stop there, guys. When he was hosting an open house for that listing, which, by the way, he ended up selling, somebody came in and said, you know what, Josh, I love this house, but it's just a little bit too small. Do you have anything bigger? Josh was like, do I ever? So he ended up selling the person that attended that open house, I think it was like a $12 million penthouse in Santa Monica, which was a record-setting sale at the time. And then Josh said that he kind of went through the whole trail to everybody that came across his path as a result of him helping that $4,000 rental client. And he came up with $150 million in transactions. I was like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of money. And this all came from that one client who, in the short term, he wasn't getting a lot of money from, but in the long run, he made a lot of money from. So what's the moral of the story? Treat everybody with respect. I mean, we should do that anyway because that's just the way you should be. But in terms of business, you just never know where your next opportunity is going to come from. And that $4,000 rental turned into so much more for him. Here is story number 2, and this is involving Ryan Serhant, $4 million listing in New York. This story is all about the power of the nurture, and I am all about the nurture here, being an inside sales agent. You have to nurture your leads because people are not ready when you call them. You have to stay with them. In 2008, Ryan went ahead and got his real estate license, and the real estate industry was not in a good place. The market had just crashed, and he knew that in order to pay his bills, he had to get clients, but he didn't really know how to do it. So he walked into a Starbucks near his home in New York City, and he noticed a woman in line. The woman was pregnant. She was wearing yoga pants, and she was carrying a Whole Foods bag. That's what he says in his story. And he's like, she's pregnant. That means she needs more space. I'm going to see what I can do here. So he introduced himself, and he said, hi, I'm Ryan. I'm the world's greatest real estate agent. And now keep in mind, he was only 24 years old at the time. Nobody knew who he was. He had no TV show. He was just someone looking to get a client. And he's like, you look like you need space. And the woman started laughing. She's like, yeah, I guess I do. He's like, can I show you something? She's like, well, I appreciate it, but we actually already have an agent that we're working with. The first obstacle, but that did not stop Ryan. Ryan said, that's okay. I have a lot of different listings that I could show you in addition to what your other agent is showing you, and maybe I'll show you something different. She's like, well, okay, but sorry, we're really not looking to buy. We'll probably just be looking to rent. Obstacle number 2. Ryan's like, that's okay. I can help you find a rental. He's like, can I just get your email address and then I can start emailing you some listings? Because she couldn't really say no to him, she's like, okay. So Ryan left that Starbucks, went back to his office, and immediately started sending, her name is Alice, that's how he refers to her, Alice listings. He wanted her to get those listings as soon as she got home, and he was on it. And then he made a reminder to send her listings every single Thursday morning. Send those listings to Alice. And that's what he did. He made contact with her again, and she's like, you know what, okay, you can come show me a few properties. He showed her a rental property. She's like, what's this one that you sent me? This is something for sale. Maybe I'll consider this. He was throwing everything at her because sometimes buyers don't know what they want. He showed her a bunch of listings. She didn't find anything. They went out a couple other times. She didn't find anything. that was it. Slowly, Alice disappeared from Ryan's radar. But life went on, and we all know what happened to Ryan. He blew up on television. He became Ryan Serhant of $1 Million Listing in New York, and all kinds of great things happened for Ryan because he worked so incredibly hard. So, 10 years later, Ryan is still sending Alice listings every Thursday morning. 10 years later, guys, this is just what he says in his speech, and I believe him. 10 years later, all of a sudden, one of his emails gets returned. It's Alice. And she says, "Hey, Ryan, sorry, I've been busy for 10 years. So he tells it much more funnier than I do. But he's like, yeah, 10 years, your little baby Jimmy has grown up. Anyway, long story short, Ryan's like, great, are you still looking to buy maybe a place for $1 million? She's like, no, we're looking to buy something between $15 and $20 million. So basically he went out and showed Alice properties the next week, and she purchased a $16 million home with him. Is that not amazing? Like, I just love that story. And I know from being an ISA, follow-up is everything. I mean, 10 years, I don't know of anyone who would follow up with someone for 10 years. I mean, it's just amazing. If you listen to both of these stories from Josh, the power of treating everyone with respect, you never know where your next deal is coming from. And then Ryan, continue to nurture leads because you just never know when they're ready and you want to be there when they are. This is just gold for your business. Does this inspire you? I mean, it really inspires me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and the inspirational stories from Josh and Ryan. Definitely check out their YouTube channels. And if you're a new real estate agent, consider subscribing to this channel because I'm a new real estate agent too. So we can learn together. See you next time, guys. Bye.